Alright folks, this video we're going to look at the ONN 1080p native resolution projector. This is one that I picked up for a really good bargain. This is available at Walmart for $1.99. I did get mine for a lot less than that, and you know, I can't say this thing is perfect, but it's not too bad. So now we're gonna look at gaming with this. Kind of slap some things together here so you could see this, but we've got one of my mini gaming rigs there on the ground there, and we're going to try this out. So let's talk about a few things with it. Obviously on the back, at least 2 HDMI ports that you could use. There's a third one that's got a Roku sitting in it. You've got VGA. At least those two aspects can get you gaming. Now, lighting is the main thing. So right now, I'm going to put in Battlefield 5. We have, right now it's pretty bright in here, right? So you can just barely see the screen. So we're going to shut down some of the lights. Let's try one more. Alright, so if you were in a, I don't know, let's say basically your bedroom and you had a wall and you didn't have it totally blacked out, you had your overhead lights on, that's about what you would see, right? Not ideal for gaming. It would actually make it pretty difficult. Now, it is just starting to get daylight outside, so no matter how dark I try and make it in here, it's not going to be perfect. But if we look at just looking at the screen, as I start to dim the lights, and right now I'm about 50% on the dimmer. It's starting to actually come in pretty good for this situation. Now, if I completely dim them, right, so they're still giving off a little bit of light, you can see that it's pretty decent. Now, is this picture perfect? Now, there are some places where it is slightly out of focus, and you know, you can, if you get close enough, you can start to see the pixels, which is interesting to see that. But at least the design that they show up on your screen. So I'm pretty impressed with this, honestly, as far as, hey, a big screen goes. I didn't measure this. I've got to say that we're very close to 100 inches of usable gaming, and if I took down my Steelers dartboard, which I could not do, we could go way bigger than this, right? So things that you know, don't work for this, too much light, right? So it's not that bright of a bulb in here, and the sound quality that comes out of your out of the projector, it's okay. Could it be better? Yes, it could be a lot better. Now, what you're going to want, if you use this, you're going to want to have your computer plugged into obviously some kind of speaker system, or even have this run through your stereo system. That would be pretty impressive that way. But you know, are the speakers in this thing adequate? You know, they're okay. Alright, so you know, a lot of people do obviously have the gaming headsets, and that would actually be one of the best alternatives. So let's go ahead and I gotta find a good spot for this. Alright, so let's go ahead and check this out. Now, unlike some of my other things that I've looked at, we know that, you know, TVs, if we use a TV, it's going to be most likely for 4K 60 hertz or 120 hertz. And you know, for a projector, I've got to go back and look at what it actually says for this. I obviously it's not going to be greater than 60 hertz, and so it'll be kind of interesting to see if it feels like there's a little bit of lag. Now this may not have been the best game to select because of how dark it is, but you know, just the fact that I did pick a dark game, so you can see how the image is probably not so bad. So we're 1920, so we're 1080p, right? HDX, 60 hertz on full screen. And unlike when I did this with the Toshiba 43-inch TV, you don't get the additional HDR, right? Because it's not 4K. Motion blur, we want to turn that down or off. I think some people go off. I just drop it down. Now, vertical sync, we don't want to be limited by the by our frequency of our display. Okay, so we want to be able to see greater than that, and we should be good to go here, folks. So the only other thing that we can't see is going to be the frames per second. So I'm going to change that in a second. Alright, so not to be a total smartass, but I have decided to blow up the frames per second for y'all, and that way it's easy to see. Maybe it's a little too big, but at least there's no doubt that you can see it. Now, so far, obviously, no matter how I record this, the image you're going to see is not going to look as good. So I am recording 4K. I broke out my good camera. I'm not using a cell phone. And it's looking, you know, pretty darn good. I've got to find a source of heat here. Good luck with that. I see lights in the distance. Oh, there's a house. So probably not the most action-packed part of the game here, but at least, you know, we can see what's going on. And I found some heat, so I'm no longer getting cold. Now, the only real negative, folks, about playing in the dark like this is you want to make sure that you have an RGB type keyboard so that you can actually see what you're doing, because it's kind of hard to see what's going on here unless you've got the keyboard pretty much memorized, which I do not. So like I'm saying, you know, we are getting a pretty high frame rate. It honestly is, I don't know that, I'm recording this in 4K 30 frames per second, so I don't know that it will look as smooth to you all. But the gameplay actually, you know, from what little I have done of this, before I made this video, it was, it's rather smooth. Now right here it's pretty dark. This is where you wish you were using your, if you had it, QLED or an OLED screen. And which, you know, the contrast would be greater. So I hear somebody talking. They're going to get a pickaxe if I can find them. Oh yeah. Coming in. Coming in hot. Guess what? Oh. And all right, so that's the end of the game. So to end this, I gotta say, folks, this is pretty darn cool having this game on a huge screen like this. You know, is it perfect? No. We're getting we've got a high fan noise, but if you got your headphones on, you're not going to hear that at all. You know, if I can make the screen a little brighter, that would be nice. I think a lot of games that you know, aren't dark, which is you know, most of them the people like for these kind of shooter games are going to have a lot of dark screens, so they're not going to be ideal. But beyond that, it is you know, quite a cool toy. Little change up from playing with your you know, your 25-inch monitors, 24-inch, 27, 29, and some of y'all I'm sure have some 40s and up. But yeah, I gotta say, well worth the money. And I can actually tell you that I got my projector through a VIP outlet on eBay. $60, $70, whatever they're currently priced at, refurbed, brand new. These are $200 at Walmart. And would I pay $200 for it? I'm not so sure, but I would pay $60 or $70. All right, thanks for checking out the video. Please like